Congressman from the great state of Arizona. It's Andy Biggs. Andy, how are you?
Fantastic, Joe. Good to be with you.
Really glad to have you on. He's from District 5 in Arizona. Great state, great district. A district that I'm sure, like the rest of us, wants to get back to business. I was glad to see that the president appointed you to the Congressional Task Force on reopening our economy. The economy, Andy, was going like gangbusters. It was better than we've ever seen. And now you've got millions and millions of people on unemployment that never saw it coming. You've got arguments in Congress about the payroll protection plan. For some reason, Democrats want to stall it and delay it like they did the $2.2 trillion. So what's the first job? You're on this task force now. What is it that you're focusing on? Getting through the red tape in Washington? Talking to local businesses? Both of those? Talk to me.
Yeah, well, I spend a good portion of my day every day talking to local businesses, but what I try to do is communicate that to the White House because in Arizona, we're ready to open. We need to be opening up, and we've had two back-to-back rallies at the state capitol. And trust me, if you can have the marijuana dispensary open, you can have the drugstore open, the grocery stores open, the big box hardware stores and the big box stores open, and we can go out there wearing masks or doing whatever to socially distance. And we can go to restaurants and pick up food that way. Believe me, you can open up the furniture store. You can open up the curio shop, the hobby shop. You can do those things as well and recognize that we're going to take care of each other health-wise. But you know what? If we don't open up these businesses soon, we're going to be sitting at Depression-era level numbers of unemployed people in this country, and that's just absolutely unacceptable.
And you're going to see unrest like we haven't seen before. We've seen protests in Wisconsin. We've seen them in Michigan. We've seen them all over the place. Arizona is starting to get wound up. At the end of the day, you've got people who are saying, dude, let me go to work. What are we doing here? And I made the argument last week, Andy, I'd love to get your opinion on this, that every job is essential. We picking and choosing what's essential. I get the frontline people. I get the emergency room people. I get the EMTs and the police and the firefighters. I understand that in the first stages where other people should stay away if they can. But every job is essential when you're losing your paycheck. Because if I don't have a paycheck and I don't have money coming in, I can't support my family. And that is a cause for desperation times in my house. So picking and choosing what's essential this far in seems to be old hat to me. I think everybody is, no?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. In fact, I've been saying all along, you can't tell me a business is essential or non-essential based on what a bureaucrat, I don't care what kind of bureaucrat they are, whether they're a medical doctor or somebody else, you can't tell me that they can tell us what's essential and non-essential because in America, we let that to be determined by the marketplace. If you're non-essential, guess what? You go out of business. That's what happens. But because of the distortion we've put in place, and we've said some businesses are non-essential, and others are essential. We've created a real chasm between people, and we've actually shut down people. And when you talk about paycheck, don't forget that you have people in small businesses that invested their life savings. Maybe they've mortgaged their house or taken a second mortgage out on their house so they can have these businesses, and they're running the risk. And this is going to have a trickle down, a real cascading effect throughout the entire economy.
It is Andy Biggs. He's District 5 Republican, the great state of Arizona. As I'm watching what's unfolding in many states, you see where the Democrat governors are. You see where the Republican governors are. I live in the state of Texas. We've got Greg Abbott. He's great. He called churches essential right away. He said that abortion was not essential, which if it's going to be elective surgeries aren't okay. I'm not sure how you can make an argument that abortion is anything other than elective when, of course, their motto is choice. Choice means elective. Yeah. But then you look at like Michigan, where you can go to Walmart, Andy, but you can't buy any seed for your grass. You can't buy any lawn and garden items. You can go boating in Michigan, but you can't go boating if your boat has a motor on it. I'm confused. How did we get here? And are we seeing small dictatorships show up during this crisis? It starts to feel like it to me.
No, you're exactly right. And the way I view it too is you see these mayors and governors and county electeds that come up, they start abusing their power. They think they've got this power. They start abusing it, and that's what we're seeing throughout the country. It's a real shame because I don't know what legal authority they think they have. Of all authority comes to me as a congressman from the people. The people delegate authority to me. They don't give me power. They delegate authority to act.
Right.
And these folks are supposed to be protecting your rights, not abrogating your rights.
Well, let's talk more about that. Let's talk about civil liberties and constitutional rights, because I know that you love the Constitution like I do. It's our cornerstone. It's the foundation. It is in stone. It's not living and breathing like the left seems to think it is. But you see somebody like a Mayor de Blasio in New York who says not only can't you exercise your First Amendment right and go to church or synagogue, I don't think you mentioned mosques, but to church or synagogue, but if you do, we're going to close you down, maybe permanently. Does a city mayor have the right to take away the First Amendment right for me to go and worship? And can he shut down churches? Where do we live?
No, he doesn't have that right. He doesn't have that power, doesn't have that authority. But he's going to say, oh, yeah, it's an emergency. You know what? You still don't have a right to abrogate a fundamental right, even during an emergency. You can very narrowly tailor your response to that, but you have to find the least restrictive alternative. You have to narrowly tailor it, and you can't treat, let's say, a church or a synagogue different than you would anybody else in the society. And that's what you see springing up all over the place. Some of the disparities you brought up in Michigan and some of these other places have just been absolutely outrageous. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you, that we haven't seen more lawsuits to attack this. Maybe the lawsuits are out there because I know that we're seeing cases in Arizona. Okay, you can file your lawsuit, but nothing's going to happen for quite some time. So maybe that's happening.
It's Representative Andy Biggs, District 5 Republican, the great state of Arizona. When we look at Florida, there's a writer for the Miami Herald who, because people are starting to go back to the beaches, said this will be great because now we can weed out the Trump supporters and we can weed out the conservatives and the Republicans. She had to apologize for the tweet and say, oh, it was a misunderstanding. I didn't mean what it sounded like. I don't want harm to anybody. But quite literally, those on the left are taking this opportunity not only to seize power, but they're also taking this opportunity to attack as often and as much as they can the conservatives in this country, those who support the president. It's kind of disgusting. Just your general overview, your thoughts about the media coverage during this crisis?
Well, it's been shameful, as it always has been here. Any chance they get to go after Donald Trump and conservatives, they take.
Yeah.
And they'll use anything to go after him, and that's what they're doing here. And I just basically tell people all the time, just pray for those folks because there's something wrong over there.
There is.
They would be so filled and consumed with hatred and desire for power.
I mean, you couldn't be more correct. There's something disjointed. There's something disconnected. It's like some sort of a connective brain cell just doesn't work in them. Because listen, I was not for President Obama for 8 years. I thought his policies sucked, and I thought he was a bad president. But when he got something right, I said he got it right. When he killed bin Laden, we all applauded. When he said kill those pirates off the coast of Somalia that boarded an American ship, we all said, yeah, damn right. When he said let's cut, I liked when he said let's cut CEO pay to $500,000 if they're borrowing money from taxpayers. If you want to pay the CEO more than that, don't borrow any money from the taxpayers. I thought he was right about that. I thought he got everything else wrong in 8 years. But why can't we celebrate? This president has 7 days a week spent 1, 2, 3, 4 hours not only giving great vital information, surrounded by expert scientists and doctors, but he's also taken the most ridiculous questions for hours on end. Why can't we at least step back and say, you know what, we're all in this coronavirus thing together, and the president's doing what he can do?
Because they're just, you're asking me a logical question, Joe. And we're dealing with people who are illogical in my mind. They're visceral. They respond emotionally. You've got the elites that are trying to leverage this for power, and then you have the people who are manipulable who are responding viscerally. They don't like President Trump, and they have this emotional response. And so it's real easy for Nancy Pelosi to manipulate him. It's real easy for someone in the left-wing media to also manipulate folks because they gin them up, get them started. And then President Trump, the guy has done a fantastic job being willing to talk to everybody about this. He shies away from no one, and to attack him the way they do relentlessly, to me it just shows how deep and profound their base's hatred is of this president, and how much their leadership manipulates that hatred.
I can't imagine how he could have been more transparent than he's been. It's been remarkable. Obama would do a press conference once every 8 months. This guy does one every single day, yet he's still maligned. It is District 5 Republican, the great state of Arizona. It's Andy Biggs. Andy, a couple of more quick ones. What exactly, is there a logical or rational reason and maybe I'm asking this is rhetorical, for why the left is holding up the PPP being extended when we're running out of money for small businesses.
Because this is a way for them to exert power, and there's no rhyme or reason to it other than they want to exert power. And Nancy Pelosi, I think she's taken a horrible miscalculation. We're 10 days into the draining of that first pot, and she doesn't want any more to go that way, I guess. And then shame on her.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, she also delayed the $2.2 trillion by a week. It probably could have been $500 or $600 billion. They had a bunch of crap in there as well. It's Andy Biggs. Andy, last question about being on the task force. Are you geared up now? Are you already making moves? Are decisions already being made? Are you guys all already conferring about how we do this? Because I know the president said a few days ago, here's the plan. Here's how I would like to see it happen. And, of course, the individual states have to be the ones that actually make the actions. But in giving guidance to the states, is it already happening now?
Yeah, it is happening now. We've had our conference calls because we're all at distance, and I continue to let the administration know what I think and what's happening in Arizona, and I think everybody that's on the task force is doing the same, trying to get input in, and they've got a few things on their mind, but one of them is opening up the economy, and so far it's not going as fast as I would like to see it.
Yeah. But
it has to be up to the governors.
Or else the guy is a fascist. I mean, that's one thing I talked to Crenshaw about a little while ago. The president's a fascist. He's a power grab. He's a Nazi. He's a this. He's a that. And then, when he says, no, I believe in the 10th Amendment. States have the right to do anything they want to do. If they need our help, they can come back and ask us for help. And now the left is attacking him for not being the Gestapo controlling everything. How do you win?
Yeah, this is something out of a Eugene Ionesco play. This is truly theater of the absurd.
Yeah, it is.
And you just take it. He's their pinata, and they're going to hit him every time. It's just a matter of it.
It's ridiculous. Andy, I appreciate you. I'm really glad that you're on that task force. Let's talk again soon, can we?
Yeah, you bet, Joe. Thanks so much.
We appreciate Congressman Andy Biggs coming on District 5, the great state of Arizona. We're back after this.